Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. And first of all, happy Ekadashi to all of you. I'm very happy to serve on this auspicious day today. And thank you for joining our daily Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we will be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam verses 4.7.57 to 61. So Canto 4, Chapter 7, verses 57 to 61. So we'll start with reading those verses first. Tasmapi anubhavena sveneva vaptaradhase dharmaeva matim dattva tridashaste divam yayuhu. Synonyms, translation, and purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Tasmai, unto him, Daksha. Api, even. Anubhavena, by worshipping the Supreme Lord. Svena, by his own. Eva, certainly. Avaptaradhase, having attained perfection. Dharme, in religion. Eva, certainly. Matim, intelligence. Dattva, having given. Tridashaha, demigods. Te, those. Divam, to the heavenly planets. Yayuhu, went. Translation: thus worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu by the ritualistic performance of sacrifice, Daksha was completely situated on the religious path. Moreover, all the demigods who had assembled at the sacrifice blessed him that he might increase his piety, and then they left. So purport: although Daksha was considerably advanced in religious principles, he awaited the blessings of the demigods. Thus, the great sacrifice conducted by Daksha ended in harmony and peace. So text 58. Evam dakshayani hitva sati purva kalevaram jagne himavata kshetre menayam iti shushuma. Synonyms: Evam, thus, Dakshayani, the daughter of Daksha, Hitva, after giving up, Sati, Urvakalevaram, her former body, Jagne, was born, Himavataha, of the Himalayas, Kshetre, in the wife, Menayam, in Mena, Iti, thus, Sushuma, I have heard. Translation: Maitreya said, I have heard that after giving up the body she had received from Daksha, Dakshayani, his daughter, took birth in the kingdom of the Himalayas. She was born as the daughter of Mena. I heard this from authoritative sources. Purport: Mena is also known as Menaka and is the wife of the king of the Himalayas. Text 59. Tameva dayitam bhuya avrinkte patimambika ananya bhavika gatim shakti sukteva purusham. Synonyms: Tam, him, Lord Shiva. Eva, certainly. Dayitam, beloved. Bhuyaha, again. Avrinkte, accepted. Patim, as her husband. Ambika or Sati. Ananya bhava, without attachment for others. Ekagatim, the one goal. Shaktihi, the feminine, marginal, and external energies. Supta, lying dormant. Eva, as Purusham, the masculine, Lord Shiva, as representative of the Supreme Lord. Translation: Ambika, goddess Durga, who was known as Dakshayani Sati, again accepted Lord Shiva as her husband, just as different energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead act during the course of a new creation. Purport: according to a verse of the Vedic mantras, Parasya Shakti Vividheva Shruyate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has different varieties of energies. Shakti is feminine and the Lord is Purusha, masculine. It is a duty of the female to serve under the Supreme Purusha. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, all living entities are marginal energies of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is the duty of all living entities to serve this Supreme Person. Durga is the representation in the material world of both the marginal and external energies, and Lord Shiva is the representation of the Supreme Person. The connection of Lord Shiva and Ambika, or Durga, is eternal. Sati could not accept any husband but Lord Shiva. How Lord Shiva remarried Durga as Himavati, the daughter of the Himalayas, and how Kartikeya was born is a great story in itself. Text 60. Etad bhagavata shambho karma dakshat bharadruhaha shrutam bhagavataschityad uddhavan me brihaspatehe. Synonyms: Etat, this, Bhagavataha, of the possessor of all opulences, Shambhoho, of Shambhu, Lord Shiva, Karma, story, Daksha Dvara Druhaha, who devastated the sacrifice of Daksha. Shrutam was heard, Bhagavatat, from a great devotee, Shishyat, from the disciple, Uddhavat, from Uddhava. Me, by me, Brihaspatehe, of Brihaspati. Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, I heard the story of Daksha Yagna, which was devastated by Lord Shiva from Uddhava, a great devotee and a disciple of Brihaspati. So text 61. Idam pavitram paramisha cheshtitam yashasyam aghogamarsanam yo nityadakaranya naro anukirtayed dhunoti agham gaurava bhakti bhavataha. Synonyms: Idam, this, pavitram, pure, param, supreme, ishacheshtitam, pastime of the Supreme Lord, yashashyam, fame, ayusham, long duration of life, aga ogha marshanam, destroying sins, who, nityada, always, akarnya, after hearing, naraha, sorry, I think I'm gonna go on a little mute. Sorry. Naraha, a person, anukirtayet, should narrate, dhunoti, clears off, agham, material contamination, Gaurava, or descendant of Guru, bhakti bhavataha, with faith and devotion. The great sage Maitreya concluded, if one hears and again narrates with faith and devotion this story of the Daksha Yagna as it was conducted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, then certainly one is cleared of all contamination of material existence, O son of Guru. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Sacrifice Performed by Daksha. So we'll start with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Again, thank you so much for joining and giving me this opportunity to serve on this auspicious day of Ekadashi. I'm very grateful for your association. We will try to share. Today, I'll be just trying to share my reflections based on all these verses. So, just to recap on the translations. So, thus worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu by ritualistic performance of sacrifice, Daksha was completely situated on the religious path. Moreover, all the demigods who had assembled at the sacrifice blessed him that he might increase his piety, and then they left. Maitreya said, I have heard that after giving up the body she had received from Dakshayani, Dakshayani, his daughter, took her birth in the kingdom of the Himalayas. She was born as the daughter of Mena. I heard this from authoritative sources. Ambika, goddess Durga, who was known as Dakshayani, Sati, again accepted Lord Shiva as her husband, just as different energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead act during the course of the new creation. Maitreya said, my dear Vidura, I heard the story of Daksha Yagna, which was devastated by Lord Shiva from Uddhava, a great devotee and a disciple of Brihaspati. The great sage Maitreya concluded, if one hears and again narrates with faith and devotion the story of the Daksha Yagna as it was conducted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, then certainly one is cleared of all contamination of material existence, O son of Guru. So we'll start with our class today. And as I said, I'll be doing more of the reflections and my sharings this time. So, we may ask first that, what is the importance and purpose of the story? And I was thinking that the characteristics of how Daksha was, right, is very much relevant for the people in Kali Yuga, and how one should not commit a Vaishnav aparadha or even find faults with the Vaishnava. So another learning that I was also, meditating upon was that we should be very cautious and serious about removing our pride and anger. These verses should, we should also learn from how the credit that Maitreya gives to Uddhava when he said that he had heard this pastime from Uddhava and glorified Uddhava's position. So we should always be glorifying the Vaishnavas rather than finding faults. Basically, any offense or anything we are feeling, when we think about it, it is really due to our bodily consciousness, which also this Daksha had. And this gives rise to the false ego. So we learn to be very careful, again, not to commit the Vaishnava aparadha or find faults in any Vaishnavas. And one of my favorite verses from Bhagavad Gita is of these Chatushloki, Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, verse 10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. So Krishna says that those who are constantly devoted to serving Krishna with love, he gives the understanding by which the devotee can come to him. So this verse really reveals that a Vaishnava, he or she does not just, solely rely on the personal intelligence that they have, because Krishna gives each of the devotees the spiritual intelligence to know how to act in each of the different situations. So again, learning for me in this is that when a Vaishnava has some idea, for example, that may not be the same as mine, or, apparently the Vaishnava is doing something that seems like materialistic, or is not aligned with what I have learned about the definition of, what a devotion or devotee is, in those instances, I should not still find any faults in that, or even get angry, but rather try to see their perspective, because everyone has different perspectives. So we should really try to understand when we are in this bodily consciousness with this false ego, it's very hard for us to see the other perspective. Apparently we may just think that they're wrong and I'm right, or they're angry for some reason and I don't understand. But there's always a deep reasoning and point behind anything that a Vaishnava does. So we should try to see and focus instead on their good qualities of the Vaishnava, right? So we can apparently see someone getting angry, but at the same time, we should understand that that anger can be of something internally where, you know, Krishna is somehow, manifesting, like, they're manifesting this anger, but we should understand that they also have these good qualities of doing their sadhana very nicely, or associating with devotees very nicely. And so it's just like sometimes there may be some kind of apparent downfall that we may think of a Vaishnava, but again, it is not to we should not be finding any fault or judging a Vaishnava from their apparent behavior. Rather, when we feel that, we should really start to think about their good qualities. So it's very important just to think about this. It's very important to learn that this world has so many different things out there that people can be doing, but everyone really who comes through the doors of the temple are the guests of Shri Radha Shyamsundar. And we should understand that they're choosing to spend their time in the temple with devotees. So no matter what they may be doing today, or more what they may be seemingly doing today, or they were doing previously, once Sri Radha Shyamsundar has accepted them, then we should also accept them. So we had heard this analogy of a hospital, quite some time. Prabhupada has given this, and many devotees also. So if like my hand is broken and someone else comes in with their legs broken, I shouldn't be laughing at them, thinking that like this person is not able to walk, but I also myself am there to get disease, my disease cured, which is the broken hand. So in this story, Lord Shiva, he did not get up to honor Daksha when he entered this sacrificial arena. And Daksha wasn't just angry simply because of the matter of etiquette that was not followed by Lord Shiva, but he had some personal envy against Lord Shiva. And that envy, pride, and false ego really got triggered when Lord Shiva didn't stand up to honor him. And of course, he had this, because of this envy, pride, and false ego, it went in the wrong direction and he committed the offense then. So to the great Vaishnava. So Lord, Shiva really didn't intend to insult Daksha, but again, this is how Daksha took it due to his false ego. And then another point that I wanted to just share is you'll notice in many of these chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam, excuse me, there are these falashrutis, and these falashrutis are there to encourage people to hear of these transcendental topics. And Srila Prabhupada often explained that conditioned souls are attracted by results. And the scriptures compassionately really tell us that if you hear this narration, your heart will become purified, and the different results it brings along with it. So what Shastra is doing is, first, it is encouraging us to hear, and then gradually it elevates us to pure devotional service. And these promised results, they're very genuine, because we always hear that Lord is really non-different from his names, qualities, and pastimes. So hearing them again with faith and and devotion really brings the Lord within our hearts. And when the Lord enters our hearts, he purifies our hearts and gets rid of the unwanted things from our hearts. Srila Prabhupada repeatedly had taught us that the greatest benefit of hearing should be or is this transformation of consciousness. So he would often quote the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, things starting from Canto 1, Chapter 217 and onwards. So starts with the Shinvatam, Swakratha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridayantasto, Abhyabhadrani Vidhunoti Surhastatam. And then goes Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. And there's a couple more verses. So this really, these verses, he says, Prabhupada, that by regularly hearing, gradually it cleanses and purifies the heart from desire for material enjoyment. And then it also weakens this passion and ignorance in us. And it establishes one, in devotional service, and it gives the realization and the love of Krishna. And this is also something that we read here, right? That one is cleared from all contamination of material existence, O son of Guru, by hearing and then again narrating with faith and devotion. Those are the key words. So we should really hear anytime with faith and devotion. So, Prabhupada also always used to say that we shouldn't judge our progress just by how much we have read or heard, but really whether we're becoming more humble, more detached from material desires, and more eager to serve Krishna. So this is what really helps us understand our progress, that, the change in consciousness is what matters. Because the result should be of hearing and reading should be that we should have change in our consciousness. So it's like these Falashrutis are like the physician. So after after giving the medicine of the transcendental pastime, these Shrutis tells us the effect of taking that medicine. And the Falashruti is not just again just the promise of blessings, but it is an invitation to continue hearing with faith and devotion. And the greatest fruit that we also get is not just this long life, fame, or freedom from sin, but they automatically come as a result. But the supreme fruit is pure devotion, or the Shuddha Bhakti, and the awakening of our dormant love for Krishna. This is what it really gives. That is the highest, greatest fruit that one can get, because the ultimate goal of the human life is to really awaken our dormant love for Krishna and perform pure devotional service. So with that, I just have those sharings to reflect on today. These verses are pretty self-explanatory, and they're it kind of gives the story of the what happens to Sati as well. She becomes his wife again in the next life. So every time she had given up her body, she had always been the wife of Lord Shiva. But today I just wanted to share my realizations from the verses, and we can now move on to any other reflections or sharings or even corrections that someone may have for my reflections or sharings. Thank you so much again for giving me this opportunity to serve on this auspicious day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for this very nice, crisp class. I was kind of really like the way he put together the whole Daksha's episode, and then how what lessons one should learn. So, I mean, thank you so much. So, I think that was really good. So,
It's all something that I have heard, so all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu. So thank you for sharing. Okay, if no other sharings, then we can end our class today. Have a great Krishna Conscious Ekadashi, everyone. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.